What's up, binge watchers? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we'll be talking about the 4th season of The Handmaid's Tale, created by Bruce Miller. This will be a non-spoiler and spoiler talk, so make sure you check our timestamp so you won't get spoiled. The show is set on a dystopic America where the fertility rate has gone low and society has gone totalitarian. These fertile women that we call handmaids are now subject to childbearing slavery, and Season 4 is what I call the redemption season because the scales are starting to tip on the favor of our protagonist here, June Osford, played by the phenomenal Elisabeth Moss. So before I continue with this review, I invite you guys, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so by hitting that subscribe button. We do weekly reviews of movies and TV shows. And while you're at it, please give this video a like because it really helps the channel. Now I am glad to be joined by my brother from another channel, Jonathan Martinez from Man of Movies. Hello, bro.
Hey, what's
Blessed
up,
day
Kevin?
to you. Okay, so I'm super excited to talk about this because this is the first time that I'm talking about this show on the channel, and this is one of the best shows that I started binging last year when the pandemic started. So I'm sure we have a lot to talk about, but yeah, let's get on first with your non-spoiler thoughts.
I don't know how I feel about it too much, Kevin. I was a little let down only because of how short I thought the season was. It ended up being as long as the first season, with all the other seasons, I think, having up to 13 episodes. I was expecting more story development in this season, and when I found out that, wait, we will only get 10 episodes, and within those 10 episodes, while there was a lot of shocking moments and a lot of very heartfelt moments as well, it was all cut off a bit too short, in my opinion.
I'm actually the opposite of you. I think 10 episodes work best for this show because season 2 and 3, I think they're both 13 episodes, right? And one of the complaints of the series is the suffering just gets dragged. And while I love season 4 because we get to new places now, and I won't spoil anything, but there will be more involvement, more scenes of Canada here. I do like that they finally get to move on, and with lesser episodes, the series quickly gets on into what it wants to do. I agree with you on some level because there's going to be a change on this season, and change or that resistance won't come usually that easy. The final episode felt rushed, but at the same time, I know that they have to hold back some of the things. Don't deliberately show these things so they will have more of a shock factor and eventually a cathartic feeling. But one of the strengths of the show and one of the main reasons that I continue watching this show is Elisabeth Moss. She is really the star of the show, and I think this is the best season for her yet, in my opinion, and that's a lot to say because she's always at the top of her performance. And in this season, she also gets to show her skill behind the camera because she got to direct 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, I think Elisabeth Moss did such a great job with the episodes that she was able to direct. And I am with you, Kevin, with the other seasons seeming a bit dragging its way through the mud. But I do think that season 3, while it was a longer season, is my favorite season so far because even though it was a longer season, it was able to develop everything perfectly.
Okay.
I still hold on to the fact that I thought season 4, the story it tried to develop was way too short of a time span for everything we're about to get in the spoiler review. So I agree with you completely, and I'm a huge Elisabeth Moss fan, and again, so happy she was able to direct so many episodes here.
I thought going in we're going to have a same opinion because season 3 is my least favorite, I guess. To each their own, but there's a big shift in the narrative by episode 5, and I was really waiting for that, for things to shake up. Honestly, my least favorite episode here will be episode 3, and that will be because the show just reached a new level of torture when it comes to the audiences. And yeah, I think that's the harsh reality of the price that you have to pay if you're going to fight these forces within the Gilead. Technical aspects, cinematography remains to be excellent. Elisabeth Moss directed some of the episodes here, and whenever she's directing, what I notice is she really knows how to accentuate her performance because it's more of steady calm shots, and there's even one particular scene that kind of resembles the Last Supper. So I just want to say, because I've got friends who started giving up on this show by season 3 because it's too traumatic at that point, that if you've already gone this far, I think you owe it to yourself to go watch season 4 because this is the payoff. This is what they're going to deliver from all the setups that they made.
The first 3 seasons are very traumatic, and I can see why a lot of people would be turned off by it. But you are very right in saying earlier on that this is the redemption season where we're seeing the tide shift over to the other side. And if you watch up to season 3, you owe it to yourself, like you said, to watch season 4 and what it is going to try and build up. I do think, Kevin, while seasons 1 through 3 were its own contained storyline, it does feel to me like this is only part 1 of 3. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah. I definitely get you because the way they wrapped up season 4, and it's already announced that season 5 is coming, which for me as a viewer, I get that as a sign of confidence that the showrunners know where the show is going. And the way it ended, it's either that the show is going to end by season 5 or they're going to tackle a much bigger story here, because I think by season 3, they already started touching a lot of conflicts outside of Gilead, how Gilead is being perceived by other countries like Canada. A lot of things going through my head, like how are they going to wrap this show ultimately? Like, are they going to show the destruction of Gilead, the restoration of America or whatever? It's going to exciting new directions because at this point, they're already way past beyond the book. I think the book only covered season 1. I still commend the showrunners for doing a lot of things here, and I don't know, this is just one of the shows that keep on subverting my expectations. And I don't know about you, because sometimes while watching this show, I clap after the end of each episode, and I rarely do that for TV shows. I feel like I only do that for Game of Thrones or Succession or whatever. So this is prestige TV for me.
Yeah, I like how you say that. You clap your hands after this show. I don't clap my hands after the show, but I am definitely shocked and wowed every time the episode ends, and I'm like, oh, I really need to see what's gonna happen next. And not to get into spoilers just yet, but the finale of the season finale was something that left me like this, Kevin. I couldn't believe what I was watching, and I can't wait to talk about that, Will this season lead to the destruction of Gilead and restoration of America? I don't know. It might in the next coming seasons, but I feel like they have built up Gilead to be this sort of very destructive, powerful force in the world that even if in the future seasons there is a destruction, I don't see a clean restoration of America.
I think that's the only fitting resolution. Okay, I think we're already speculating now. Let's give our ratings. I'm gonna give my rating first. I think this show remains to be relevant, and it has a lot of insights, and this show patiently takes its time. Though for you, season 4 might sound a bit rushed, I'm actually excited that things are actually starting to happen, because this is my favorite season yet since season 1. So I'm gonna give this a high rating of 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Kevin, you're going at it really high, my man. You're going at it really high. I appreciate how much you really like the season, because there is a lot here to appreciate. From the incredible direction from everyone involved, especially Elisabeth Moss giving out one of my favorite directions in a show this year so far. The performances are just as great as the other couple of seasons. But again, and I'll always hit this point, I just thought that for the material and content that we were given in this season, it was a bit too rushed. But with that being said, I don't give numerical scores for those people that may be subscribed to my channel, and Kevin, but I do have a system. So I have trash and a half, with that being my lowest point. I have pass, I have you should watch this, repeat watch, and the best being that this show or film is a banger. And I gotta say that Handmaid's Tale Season 4 is a should watch. It's definitely not something I would want to go to again, but I think this is just the start of something that we're going to be leading up to for at least the next 2 seasons.
Okay, let's now proceed to our spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen this show yet, better pause this video, or maybe you don't care about spoilers, just proceed anyway. So by the end of the season, June Osborne finally got her revenge. She outwitted the commander, sent him to no man's land, and gave her brand of justice. So I was super excited with that, though that's the thing that I was saying earlier, that they have to withhold some of the things, because how did June is able to pull off such thing, right? But this moment is particularly cathartic for me because I was really wanting for Fred Waterford to die by season 1, and that was delayed so long. June here, I already sensed in the earlier seasons that I would really love if they push her character into the realm of anti-hero, and this is where she is now. There's no turning back. She committed a crime. By the end, she looks at Luke, and Luke is like, what have you done? Maybe she's going to be on the run now. She's gonna go rogue. A lot of things can happen from here, but John, what is your reaction at that finale?
Completely shocked. This is the most shocking finale of Handmaid's Tale in the whole series. The ending of season 3 was shocking, but in a very beautiful, touching way. Angel's Flight, what a beautiful ending to season 3. But man, when she got her revenge on Fred Waterford, like I said in my non-spoiler part, was like this. Because I couldn't believe that was the type of revenge that was given, because we kind of led up to maybe Canada will do something to him, or okay, we're gonna send him back to Gilead and Gilead will give their punishment to him. He'll be on the wall, like she said. Never did I think that it would be by the hands of June Osborne herself, and I was ecstatic. Even though I will say, while I was happy because Fred Waterford has been a huge piece of crap in this series and I wanted to see justice inflicted upon him, the fact that June delved that deep into her psyche that she killed him makes me think that not only Kevin, she may be an anti-hero, but by the end of this series in general, June might become the very thing that she swore she was gonna eliminate.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there's a line said by Commander Joseph Lawrence that revenge is not the end of it. It's gonna feel empty. And I'm sure once June reached that point, she's gonna realize, like, no, I've already been through worse. Like, is this the best that I can do? I need to eradicate Gilead. I need to destroy that from inside and out. And yeah, I can really sense a Daenerys arc in here. I want the show to move on from Gilead, because I feel like if June is going to stay in Gilead, the narrative plot holes will be more evident, because there seems to be an endless cycle of getting caught, escaping, then getting caught again, and it seems like there's no permanent consequences for June. Like, she was never executed, even though she's very flight risk. Then another key moment for June here is when she turned the whole thing upside down on the counseling sessions. Like, they were all about healing. Then she said that, why is it all about healing? Another goal would have to be to seek revenge. And she just converted a lot of followers, a lot of angels on her side. I am usually tired when shows tend to portray characters to be either good or bad. June is not a hero. She's a human being, and this is a reasonable course of action for her. She does a lot of impulsive things, and she can be selfish, she can be irresponsible. Yes, I was disappointed at her actions by the finale, but I think ultimately what she did will definitely point to a more exciting direction for the show, especially for Serena when she finds out, right?
I cannot wait to see Serena's reaction, because I hate Serena Joy. I love the character. I think the character is very well written and acted, but I hate Serena Joy. She is I'm not gonna curse, but she is a B word. Oh my, I can't stand her. I can't stand her. So I cannot wait until she gets that finger. If they give her the finger, you know? Like, I hope they give her the finger with the ring, but I can't wait to see that reaction. But I gotta say that the resistance part of this show was something I was a bit disappointed at because the trailers hinted at it throughout. And we were only there for an episode and a half before June ends up going off to Canada. I was so disappointed. That's all we got with the resistance. Even though I agree, I didn't want to be in Gilead anymore. I think it would be just repeating itself over and over and over again. And we would see so many loopholes because why is it that when a regular handmaid does something wrong, they get killed immediately? But June can do everything wrong and all she gets is like a spanking.
I have a theory though when it comes to that resistance because I wish they stayed more on that phase because I was getting a lot of Mockingjay, Hunger Games Mockingjay vibes. Like she's now the symbol of the resistance. Like I want them to bomb Gilead, her orchestrating random attacks. Like I want to see that, but I think there's a shift on the character of Janine by the end of the season. I think she knows how to play the game now. And for me, it's either she's going to be an aunt, so she is in that position of power, or maybe they're going to bring back that resistance storyline because there's the character of Steven. Steven and Janine kind of form this relationship, so maybe she can tap onto that resource and then also add to the fact that we got here episode appearances from McKenna Grace, who I thought was amazing, and I really loved their duo. Like we only get to see a glimpse of that, but when I was talking earlier about destroying Gilead inside and out, I think June will be attacking from the outside, then Janine maybe will destroy Gilead from the inside. So I was just hoping for that this resistant part, it's actually more of a setup that this is not the last that we're going to see that.
Okay, I like what you're saying here, Kevin. So with the resistance part of things, I'm going to be honest, I'll be okay if they never bring those people up again because they didn't do anything for me this season anyway.
Yeah.
If they choose to, fine. But if they don't, I'm also okay with that. But when you said, that you see Janine becoming an aunt, whoo, bro, that is an awesome theory you have there, my friend.
I wish the writers are listening right now.
I can see it. I can see it happening. I would be shocked. But I don't know if I see Janine working her way into the system to help June. And if that happens, I'm okay with that. I would be so glad if that were to happen. But what I see is Janine becoming conformed to Gilead now. I see Janine to be like the Winter Soldier, with Dowd being Hydra controlling the Winter Soldier, and the Winter Soldier having to do all of Hydra's bidding. And by the end, I see June and Janine going face to face with one another, with June looking at Janine and going, we used to be friends, we used to fight for the same reasons, and Janine now going, no, you used to fight for your own reasons. Gilead is good, Gilead is great. I think she's getting molded into a perfect handmaid for Gilead. I don't want to see that. I've had enough tragedy with the show already, but I don't know. I don't know, Kevin.
That is a nice theory, though. If that happens, I will be really disappointed because they will be like undermining the growth of Janine here. Because I felt like Janine already went through the phase where she's down, she's already conforming, she was just all smiles. But I also love this season because we get to see glimpses on the backstory of Janine, and we can see, in a way, a beautiful soul. And though granted her leadership or management style is not as brash or as impulsive as June here, I'm just hoping that she find it in herself to have the guts. Ultimately, I guess I'm saying that I would have wanted Aunt Lydia's life to end in the hands of Janine.
That's really dark, but I would love to see that, Kevin. And I don't know if this is where your next point is heading, but if I can just touch on, I was also disappointed that this season did not touch a lot on Aunt Lydia's side of things, because that amazing first episode where she gets that meeting in front of the council and she's all beaten up because the eyes have been beating her up to see if she knows any information on the handmaids that have escaped. I thought Aunt Lydia was going to be a true force in this season, and she wasn't, but then again, she might be in season 5.
I can see them aligning Aunt Lydia as another power player of the show, because she already forged an alliance with Commander Joseph Lawrence, though I felt like their alliance is a bit forced for me because I felt like the show wanted to get more scenes with these big brand names. I'm gonna go back to Serena Joy because you said that you despise her. Well, I despise her. But you know what's weird about this character, and I have to commend Yvonne Strahovski because she does not get much credit because there's little things that she does that makes me get a sense of empathy for her. But then again, when you step back and look at this character is narcissistic. She's a sociopath. Like at the beginning of the season, she wants to get custody for Nicole, and then when she got her baby, she never once again mentioned Nicole. Like, this girl does not really care about Nicole. She just wants to have a baby. Then the same can be said for Commander Fred Waterford. He takes pride in building these laws about Gilead, but now that he has a family, he suddenly doesn't care about his country. So I think it's only perfect that they're together. They're the perfect destructive couple. They're both narcissistic, and great end for Fred here because Serena has supporters, so she will definitely tap into that resource, and Serena won't go down without a fight. I think Serena will be the one who is going to have a head-to-head match with June. I don't want Janine to be taking that role.
I understand where you're coming from, Kevin, with you don't want Janine to be taking that role, and there's no doubt. I will put all my chips on June and Serena having a head-to-head. With Joseph Fiennes and Yvonne Strahovski, they are such great actors, and they don't get enough credit in the same way that Elisabeth Moss gets for her rendition of June, because both of them are amazing, and they bring this, like you said, sociopathic, narcissistic couple to life. And it's so true what you said. Many people can look at this season and say, didn't Serena want Nicole and all she wanted was Nicole, and now they dropped that storyline? I don't see it like that. I see it much like you, Kevin. That is a development of her character and how sociopathic she really is.
Now let's go and talk about the other characters here, because most of the cast here has now moved to Canada. Moira, Rita, and Emily. Now what I love about this ex-handmaids slash ex-Martas is the show is able to show us the different ways of coping for trauma. For Moira, since she's not been too long inside Gilead, she's now taking that role of, you know, going for that healing and more of the positive form of moving on. And then we have here Rita. There's little things that they add to this character, even though she's not a major player this season, like the way she keeps on cleaning the house. Like, she's just experienced a prolonged state of degradation. She's finding herself struggling in incorporating in her back to her normal life. Emily here, wow, I love the episode when June kind of turned Emily into, this is how you should be feeling. This should be the things that you've been wanting. And then by the end, when June mentioned that he wants Waterford to be scared, like what she was feeling when she was in the woods, then Emily said something like, more than that. Like, I was just excited. These girls are becoming villains, and yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, dude, things are not black and white. They're very, very gray. Like you said about Rita, she doesn't have a lot to do in this season, but I did like that scene where she goes to the little boy's house to try and help him cope with his new life, because all he knows was Gilead. So Rita being used to help these kids that came from Gilead and help them, you know, adapt to Canada. I think that is a role I would love to see more with Rita. Moira, like you said, very positive, outgoing, even though she went through so much stuff, but still not much of an impact to me. And I wasn't going to say much on Emily until that one episode in the therapy circle where the aunt comes and tries to apologize to her for everything she does. That episode was amazing. And the end, when she tries to have that conversation with the aunt and goes to the address given to her, only to see that the aunt ended up killing herself because of the lack of empathy shown from Emily. It's true, Kevin. They're turning into villains, and I don't know how I'm feeling about it, but man, it's powerful.
Let's talk about Commander Lawrence. Now, this is another interesting character for me because I can't really gauge him the first time that he appeared, if he's a character who's on the good side or the bad side, or if he's just doing what's best for him, whatever serves him best. There are moments in the previous season that he's going to show compassion to you, like specifically for the welfare of June. But there's a moment here in season 4 where he offered Janine to Aunt Lydia. Then by the end, I guess he's already on the side of June once again, because early on I definitely thought that they're going to kill Joseph because he's already accused of treason. Then by the end he got to the side of power again and able to do things. And you know, the way that they've orchestrated that plot by the finale, a lot of transactions that were hidden under the table, and you have to assume that Commander Joseph Lawrence has a lot of leverage in this game. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Commander Lawrence has a lot of leverage in this game as well. And even though there is a lot of compassion there from him whenever he had to deal with June and the things that she wanted from him, he is playing his own game. And he is doing this for his own favor. So while it does seem on the surface to be compassion, I think that if it didn't suit his needs, he would not do it. And you can see that with how he refused to help with Hannah because she refused to give him 5 or 10 of the kids that she took from Gilead. It just proves to the fact, Kevin, that there are no good or bad characters in this show. They may lean good or they may lean bad, but it is all very humanistic, and it's all up to us and our opinions and preferences to see who we align with most. And Joseph Lawrence is one of the most gray characters in the entire show.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's move on. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there's a massive divide among the fans of the show on who June Osborne should end up with. Is it Team Nick or Team Luke? So before I get to my side, because I have my preference obviously, so I think let's just examine what happened here, because Luke this season has a trouble understanding and adjusting to the new character that June has already been. And then we have here Nick, who I thought we already saw the last of him, but you know, he comes back at the finale, and I thought that their relationship was just there in Gilead, that they're just kindred souls finding strength each other in this tragic time. But no, it seems like they're really in love with each other. So what is your take on this, and do you have a preference?
Okay, so I didn't know what you meant by the divide. I thought it was more of a narrative thing. But yeah, it's definitely...
This is a real concern, right?
Are you Team Luke or are you Team Nick?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say this, and I'm sorry to disappoint people. No matter what team you will be on, I do not see Luke and June staying together. I don't see it happening. No matter if you're Team Luke or Nick, I am a bit conflicted only because I think Luke is such a good guy and he has gone through a lot just like June, and I would love for them to have a happy ending together now that they found each other and just set their sights on finding Hannah. But Nick does make it a little bit difficult. I feel that June is so much more in love with Nick than she is with Luke, and Nick is just as in love with her as well, that he's able to risk his life to do something for her, while Luke, while he does love her, stayed in Canada, worked from the outside. Nick goes to her, risks his job, his life, just to be with her. And one way I want to be Team Nick, Kevin, because of that type of pure, unconditional love for each other. But on the other hand, give Luke a break. Stay with him.
Yeah. You forgot though that Nick is married because, there's one scene that he's wearing this ring. So that further complicates things. But, just to piggyback on what you said, I think June here is definitely a different person now. Like, pre-Gilead, during Gilead, once she get out of Gilead, this girl keeps evolving. I'm not saying that Luke deserves better, but June is not the same woman that he loved before. I mean, you can see it in his eyes when the look of shock and disappointment. Wow, who is this woman? As for Nick, I would love them to be together, but I can also see by the end of the show maybe killing Nick.
No.
This is too tragic. I don't know, because June here is taking a destructive path, a path of revenge, and once you take onto that path, things are never gonna end well for you. And I hate to say this, seeing this show to a bitter end, but that is a possibility for me. So I guess my preference would have to be Team Nick, just because Luke can't get on with whatever June is doing. He needs to be the responsible half of the couple and make sure that their kids are, that's actually June and Nick's kid, but once he get back Hannah, he needs to be the stable parental figure. So I'm just gonna say that we might be different on our reception for season 4, but this is one of those few shows that I'm really invested in. I hope they really nail the further seasons, or how the showrunners envision to end this show, because I don't think I can accept another failure on the same level of Game of Thrones. And then I'm just excited for all the things that's about to come, be it revenge, rebellion, give it to us in the most smooth way that they can. Yeah.
My hope for this season is that it also has a unified vision on where the show is going to end. I don't want this show to continue because then we get a Walking Dead, then we get, like you said, a Game of Thrones. I want this show to know where it wants to go and end it when it's a perfect ending.
Okay, so I guess that's it for our non-spoiler and spoiler review of the 4th season of The Handmaid's Tale. How about you guys? Have you seen this show? Hit the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, give this a like and subscribe to us for weekly content. Make sure to check out John's channel, Man of Movies. I'll be putting down the link on the description below. John, thank you so much for guesting. I really had fun.
Thank you so much for having me, Kevin. This was exciting. I can't wait for next year if you'll have me on.
Yeah, definitely. You're definitely coming. Okay, thank you so much guys for watching. Until then, see you on the next one.